What if I told you that the most powerful empire in human history had a tradition where the winner of an election literally paid every citizen in the city in cash? Or that Roman surgeons performed brain operations 2,000 years ago with a success rate that would still impress doctors today? And what about this? The Romans had a god specifically dedicated to doors, not war, not love. Doors. Ancient Rome was extraordinary, bizarre, brutal, and nothing like what your history teacher told you. Welcome to Echoes of History. Today, we're uncovering 5 facts about ancient Rome that will completely change how you see this empire. Stay until the end, because number 1 is something almost no one talks about. Romans used crushed mouse brains as toothpaste. Let that sink in for a moment. While we reach for mint-flavored gel every morning, Romans were scrubbing their teeth with a paste made from ground mouse brains, rabbit heads, and urine. Yes, human urine. They believed the ammonia in urine whitened teeth. And here's the strange part. They weren't entirely wrong. Ammonia does have mild bleaching properties. But it gets stranger. Wealthy Romans actually imported urine from Portugal because they believed it was more potent. There was even a tax on urine collection. Emperor Vespasian introduced it. And when his son complained it was undignified, Vespasian held a coin under his nose and said, "Money has no smell." That phrase is still used in Italian today. Gladiator sweat was sold as a luxury beauty product. Roman women paid enormous amounts of money for small clay pots filled with the scraped-off sweat and dirt of gladiators. It was mixed with olive oil and lanolin and sold as a face cream. Why? Because gladiators were the celebrities of their time. They were on merchandise, painted on walls, and their image sold everything from lamps to perfume, much like athletes today endorse products. The gladiatorial industry was a multi-million-dollar business in today's terms. Gladiators had agents, contracts, and retirement packages. Most gladiators were volunteers, not prisoners, because the money and fame were extraordinary. Surviving records show that some gladiators fought fewer than 5 times per year, lived in well-fed training camps, and received the best medical care in the empire. But if you think that's unusual, wait until you hear about Roman medicine, because 2,000 years ago, they were doing something that sounds completely impossible. Romans invented the world's first shopping mall and fast food. Trajan's Market in Rome, built around 100 AD, was a 6-story complex with over 150 individual shops, offices, and apartments. It was the world's first shopping center, and it still stands today. But Romans didn't cook at home. Most citizens lived in apartment buildings called insulae, which had no kitchens, because fire risk in a densely packed city was too dangerous. Instead, they ate at thermopolia, street food counters with built-in clay pots set into stone counters, keeping food warm all day. Archaeologists have found over 80 thermopolia in Pompeii alone. The menu included spiced wine, lentil stew, fish sauce dishes, and stuffed dormouse, a delicacy reserved for the wealthy. One thermopolium excavated in 2020 still had food residue in the pots: duck, pork, fish, and snails, preserved for nearly 2,000 years under volcanic ash. Roman politicians literally bought elections by paying every citizen in the city, legally. In the Roman Republic, candidates for office openly distributed money, food, wine, and entertainment to voters. This wasn't a scandal. It was called largesse, and it was expected. A candidate who didn't give gifts was seen as arrogant and unworthy of office. Julius Caesar once threw a public banquet for 22,000 people, all at his own expense, simply to campaign for office. He went so deeply into debt doing this that he had to borrow enormous sums from his political allies, essentially selling future political favors before he even held power. The Roman Forum had professional brokers called divisores, whose only job was to distribute bribes on behalf of candidates, organized, documented, and accepted as normal. When reformers tried to ban the practice, they were mocked, because everyone, voters and candidates, had come to rely on the system. Sound familiar? The Roman political machine collapsed, in part because the cost of winning office became so extreme that only the ultra-wealthy could compete. By the time Augustus became emperor, the Republic was already hollow. Ancient Rome wasn't just an empire, it was a mirror, reflecting back everything we think is modern: celebrity culture, fast food, political corruption, advanced medicine. They were us, just 2,000 years earlier. If this video changed how you see history, subscribe to Echoes of History. Every week, we go deeper into the stories that never made it into your textbooks. And tell me in the comments, which fact shocked you the most? I read every single one. The past is closer than you think. See you in the next Echo.